Good evening, Robert Scribbler, filming for the OBX wave report as some small 1 to 2 foot waves break off the south side of Jeanette's Pier as we look south and east into a very placid and glassy North Atlantic Ocean. Further to our south and east, there is a storm system developing off the coast that may bring in some northerly winds, which might chop up the surf. We're just going to have to keep an eye on things. And yet on Saturday and Sunday, there is a possibility of some nice clean waves coming in between the various storm systems that are out in the North Atlantic Ocean at this time. And we've got a combination of a typical nor'easter type regime set up for just off the US East Coast, and also some activity in the tropics that we're monitoring for potential for wave development. And so we'll just have to keep an eye on things as they develop. Right now, we're going to look at some of the local observations as we scan down the coastline to give you guys an idea of the relatively placid conditions that are presently in place for the Outer Banks right now. All right, so right now at Nag's Head, we've got 1 to possibly some 2 foot waves, clean conditions, swell out of the east-northeast at 1.1 foot and 11 seconds. Winds out of the south-southwest at 1 mile per hour, barely noticeable. Air temperature 67 degrees Fahrenheit, ocean water temperature 71. High tide this evening at 6:45. And then to our north in Virginia Beach, we've got 1 foot waves and glassy conditions. To the south of us in Rodanthe, we've got 1 foot plus waves and semi-glassy conditions, with a swell coming in from the southeast at 1.2 foot and 10 seconds, and a south wind at 6 miles per hour. Air temperatures 67 degrees Fahrenheit, ocean water temperatures 70 degrees Fahrenheit. And down there at Rodanthe, they're looking toward a high tide at 7:35 p.m. And then at Buxton, we've got 1 foot plus waves and semi-glassy conditions. East-northeast swell at 1.2 foot and 11 seconds. East-northeast winds at 4 miles per hour, also very calm. 66 degree Fahrenheit. Air temperatures, ocean water temperatures 70 degrees, and looking toward a high tide at 6:51 p.m. Last of all, at Frisco, we've got 1 foot plus waves and semi-glassy conditions. Okay, so our storm monitoring right now for the Outer Banks. We are presently monitoring multiple systems that might develop into storms that will affect wave conditions in the Outer Banks. And right now, the first issue of potential for wave development are a series of coastal lows expected to develop off the US East Coast, which are the most likely systems to influence the swell, with the best near-term waves predicted for Sunday morning, particularly for Buxton and Rodanthe. So we'll have to keep an eye on the weather situation as it develops. And also, we are monitoring the tropics with the data provided by the National Hurricane Center. Of course, storm data provided by the National Weather Service. And right now, tropical storm Sean is located in the central tropical Atlantic with maximum sustained winds of 40 miles per hour. Sean heading toward the northwest at 10 miles per hour. And Sean is facing strong wind shear, which is likely to tear the storm apart over the next few days. We'll see if Sean manages to hold together against expectations, but according to the National Hurricane Center, Sean is likely to be torn apart by wind shear over the next few days. And then the last disturbance being monitored by the National Hurricane Center has a 30% chance of developing presently off the coast of Africa and heading toward the west and looking at a potential for developing over the next 7 days with a likelihood in the range of about 30%. All right, so thank you for joining me for this Thursday, October the 12th session of the OBX Wave Report. And as I tend to do, I'd like to ask you guys to please help protect our coastlines from the impacts of climate change driven by fossil fuel burning. The primary response to climate change right now being the mass deployment of clean energy, and the most widely available, rapidly deployable forms of clean energy being wind, water, solar, and electric vehicles, as well as the battery systems that enable those clean energy systems, and the mass electrification that also enables those clean energy systems. Clean energy systems will help protect our coastlines from the impacts of climate change, to include sea level rise, which right now we face in the Outer Banks at the rate of 5.5 millimeters per year, that threaten our coastal communities and particularly our structures along the coastline. More intense storms driven by ocean heating. The ocean heat at the ocean surface serves as a heat engine that helps to deliver more energy to storm systems. And ocean heat waves themselves harm the life in our oceans, to include our fisheries and all of the various wildlife that we enjoy in the ocean system. And last of all, ocean acidification, which harms our coral reefs and our calcareous organisms such as mollusks and clams. All right, so thank you for joining me for this session of the OBX Wave Report, and I hope you guys do get out there and find some good waves, and I will be back with you shortly.